Welcome to this video on alarm style watches. My name is Ryan from Little King Watches, and I'm going to show you some really cool pieces. I have 3 alarm watches currently in stock, and they're one of my favorite complications. One that oftentimes get ignored onto how they work, why they're used, or even how they were used. This is an example of a Pierre Vallee I have from the 60s, maybe even the 70s, with a really unique red accent on the indices, and you have a 6 o'clock date window, which I'm also a sneaky fan of. This particular one has 20 millimeter band, which is why it looks a little bit thicker, more modern than the other ones, but I'll get into that. This is a Louvic, a little bit older and a little bit smaller. This is on a rally strap. The actual hand that indicates the time on this one is stunning. But this is such a great, unique, a little bit older with some more contextual or textural features to the dial, but another really cool piece. This is a large, probably the largest size one that I've ever seen. It is a Rodina. It is a Swiss. It's all gold dial, gold indices, gold case. Really nice modern sizing. You can put a modern band on this as well, but they all have the exact same feature with the double crowns. They oftentimes get mistaken for a compressor style watch, but they're not. They have a very specific function, and that's something that I'm going to dive into in a little bit more detail. Here are the 3 of them right now. I'm going to set them so they all go off at the same time. It's going to be how we introduce this video with Donald Duck. They have an incredible cricket sound, which is, we're going to get there. It's just where it came from, but they're also so unique. And when I wear them out in public, people are always thinking to themselves, what the hell is that sound? And I've had people say, what is that noise? And then I get the fun of explaining what it does. The story about alarm watches and where they came from is pretty simple. Soldiers come home from World War II. You got the famous image of that sailor kissing that girl in New York City. People start this commuter lifestyle. They start driving farther. They start going on planes, trains, traveling all over the country. And this idea of the traveling salesman becomes a thing, and culture in North America changes forever. Well, that really starts a lot of different product development. Many of you have probably seen the different types of travel alarm clocks that people had with them. Well, one of these big innovations is the wrist alarm. And so Vulcain, which is a pretty famous brand that's still producing watches today, in 1942, they start producing the first, or they start developing the first wrist alarm watch. It doesn't come out till 1947. There were some things that were going on in that time period, probably kept them pretty busy. Very quickly, it gains traction, becomes popular. Harry S. Truman, the president of the United States, he wears one and he gifts them to people, and it becomes, at the time, the president's watch, and you're going to see it worn by Eisenhower and many presidents since it. And then you see probably the largest development of one, which is, forgive my pronunciation, but Jaeger-LeCoultre. They jump in with the Memovox, and then they kind of take over. And today, these watches are seen as irrelevant, but JLC still makes it, and Vulcain still makes their cricket for nostalgic purposes. As history shows, if something is successful, others are going to copy it. So let me actually explain how one of these alarm watches works. So this isn't a cricket or a JLC Memovox, but it has the same idea. The bottom crown, something you'd be very familiar with, actually operates the hands of the watch. So if you turn the crown, it'll actually spin the hands. If you pull it out twice, for some of them, it'll have a quick set. And then you have the second crown at the top. And this one, when you actually turn it counterclockwise, you're going to see that it actually turns this little hand. Then when you actually turn it clockwise, you're going to see that it winds. So there's 2 springs inside the watch. There's a main spring for the function of the watch, and then there's also one for the power of the alarm. So in this picture, what I'm doing is I'm winding it to give it it's full power. Most of them I've seen it between 1 minute and 90 seconds of alarm time. So you just keep winding, you wind, and eventually you'll actually set this little hand has the red indices on it, and then the time would catch up to it. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do the opposite, and I'm going to move the time towards this indices just so that we can actually get the alarm feature working. Now, the top crown does need to be popped open for the alarm to actually sound. And so now I'm going to reverse the time until it actually hits the alarm. You're going to see, boom, the alarm goes off. It has a beautiful cricket sound. You push in the crown, it's going to stop. Pull the crown back out, it's going to function again, very much like an old school alarm clock, which I know a lot of people would probably not be very familiar with today because most people just use their iPhone. But it is an amazing feature and a great piece of horology that should not be forgotten. All three of these are available on my website, littlekingwatches.com, and they're all crazy affordable, most of them under 500 Canadian, but it's a cool complication that you'll probably actually use, and you get to impress some other people that love watches, or maybe just start conversations with strangers. It's a great piece. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.